Gentlemen, welcome back to the shop. When last we gazed upon this miraculous beast, we were giddy in the knowledge that we had received a sore dick deal. You couldn't beat it. If you would do me the honor, Herr Dewclaw, of gassing this place out just the one last time. Key contact.
Not good. Not good.
Stingy on my eyes. So stingy. We're doing the mise en place here. No chef gets a Michelin star without doing the mise en place. So it really pays to take your time and clean up around so that you don't get summer teeth, you fall over and hurt yourself. One of the overlooked, important shop tools are ladders and horses. Got to have the rags. We got our PPE. I got my ECD, all my everyday carry, thumb detecting nut fucker. Never go underground without that. You also never go anywhere without a knife. Don't tell the Britishers about I'm carrying a knife. Okay, and we got these guys, the plumbers, knurlers. We got the old pokey, Sharpay. You need one of these guys for adjustamentes, O-ring pick, a good one. The most important tool of all, pen, what for writing your stories at the end of shift so you get paid. Sometimes you got to tie stuff up, wires, whatever.
Band-Aid.
Band-Aid. And I don't have a cap lamp, so you always got to have a light. Sat and had a stink about this over coffee. We're going to pull the doghouse off. We can't get in the bottom to do the in-frame on account of 500 gallons of fuel underneath. So we're gonna take it easier on ourselves and just pull the cork stuffer right out of there. Wishful thinking, pulling out his rubber. There's the angina starboard, looking stern. Piddly bit of fiddly foreplay, pulling petticoats prior to the main event. Better getting a goodly look at her undercarriage, save some unexpected mock embarrassment. Laying up the panels where they ain't gonna knock out a kneecap, safety third. Speaking to, got the negative battery terminal for to prevent burns in the shape of a wedding band. This thing is minty. Yeah, we're gonna have to take that fan off. Thank fuck a petcock and dingus end. Bleed her out nice and slow. Invariably, clean buckets are precious, coveted like the last chicken tendy at a Comic-Con. Peeling off a ground strop, nutting that thread so we don't lose the fastener. Haven't you ever wondered where your 10 mil goes? The goddamn kabouchages. More grounds. I like chicken's tape like the namesake, full of gack, it don't stick to nothing. Check for a Deutsch in the loom, but das Boot is on das other foot. This is a pressure sender. What? Swapping pails afore she's full? Heresy! Now I label everything in case this goes sideways and save the guy already gotta clean up your meaty bits and 200-pound gorilla-shaped grease stain some time. You aren't always going to be the guy who's got to put it back together. Even if you are, you won't remember fuck all, so keep it simple, stupid. Labeling is far quicker than finger fudging a fucked up wiring harness. Ditto with the alternator positive charge. 24 volts, mind. Mighty dainty starter wire. Recall, twice the voltage, half the amps. Calcified old heater hose invoking a 75-year-old man standing at the urinal, struggling with a 4-pound prostate. Why the fuck are you grunting? They make specificitous tools for this step in factories every day. Spoiler alert, this ain't it. Popping the fan guard, the tin safety device keeps the Darwin Award nominees sticking their fingers in the fan blades.
Shake hands with danger. Meet a guy who ought to know. I used to laugh at safety. Now they call me Three-Finger Joe.
Remember, We got to take that fan off. This is the coolant level sensor. Deutsch connectors are fantastic till you got to buy a $1,000 kit and crimper to fix one. Here I'm demonstrating the mechanics 3-step shuffle, 2 steps backwards and 1 step forward. Dancing the Fandango floor show, chapeau, needs yet more skid row no-show. A good partner always willing to finish you off with a twist at the top. The Darwin guard's fetching up. I gotta discombobulate the air-to-air intercooler. The turbo compresses the air inlet charge. It gets hot. We chill it down to get more oxygen per unit volume into the, you know, because science. Oh, so satisfacting. Snatch. Tape up that gaping inlet. It's very susceptible to sucking in foreign participles of the dangling variety. Fuck you! I missed a bolt. Surreptitious snippy snip snip. Every time the Dewclaw overhears me say that, he has to excuse himself to go sob in the washroom. Spilling some out for our dead homies. Not to worry, it gets recycled right back into Mother Earth Gaia, where it come from. That brief séjour in the storm drain, no big deal, because technically it is organic. Partner, we gotta get that fan off. This is the engine temp sender. No, not that one. I mean this one. I do it. Them Japanese guys, they ain't dumb. They prefer to measure things in metric because it's easier on the ego. 15-year-old exhaust bolt what doesn't rent right half in two? What color is the sky in this fucking world? My some come allowed post hole digger and prelapsarian codpiece weaving finally put to use. Fuck, it must be electrical code. You mustn't use your finger to smear schmoo, rather you gotta ineffectually dab it from a plastic tip. I have it on good authority that he performs intercourse the same way. Call the shop steward. That's clearly a plumbing union job. 4-hour double bubble call out, and that's coffee. Many hands make light work. We gotta get the flywheel speed sensor out. Seems like they use the gear as a tone ring on a magnetic pickup. Ooh, monkey like shiny. Oh, flex plate fasteners. We gotta bar the engine so the bolts line up with the access holes. Keep her coming, too far. This one's not bad, but generally it's real limited access and you kind of got to go wiggle, you know, if it don't fit, wiggle it a bit. Blocking up the alternator for to split the engine ass under. The engine itself will be supported by the come-alongs, the cherry pickers. Flashing up El Forco Mechanical. Normally grabbing the forklift is a relief. Ah, I know. We'll just get the forklift. That'll make this job easier. But in this case, the thing's so Jesus old that it's more of a pain in the cunning linguals than anything. It's got a flat spot in the commutator. It's real janky and jerky, and it's got Armstrong steering. It's very much the tool of last resort. Gratuitous Quito 3-car ton come along shot. There's the last bolt. We're loosening, but we're not taking out. For safety. Got the poor man's fox wedge. We're splitting her open like a PB&J sandwich. That's not peanut butter. It's cheese whiz. Removing the final safety bolt. It gets continuously more and more sketchy from here. I'm well practiced at jacking off. Here's the money shot. Now we gotta remove this ring because it's too fucking late to take the fan off. You can see the flex plate is 2 stacked up painless steel discs. Torsionally stiff, but actually not so much. One might even say flexible. That allows for axial misalignment. Application dependent, they might use a fluid coupling, also known as a torque converter, a rubber toroid, or even a fiber ring gear. This is a typical archetype here. slinging new rigging, you never know what you're gonna get. And first time around, never fucking works. For safety, having a little meeting, we could see the Dewclaw working to script here, confident and bold in his initial strokes, working up to more and more tension, culminating in a snap and a few tentative final clicks, just to make sure that this ain't the way it's gonna work. Down periscope. Ugh. There's quite a bit of flexion in that fork extension. Are you sure it's a certified lifting apparatus? I'm only gonna say this once. Again, for the second time. We gotta re-rig this from the port side. Initially, thought it was too tight in there, but we shuffled some stuff around and managed to wedge old Forky McForkface in the right hole. Caught black-handed. It's a good thing Dewclaw's holding it up, like the guy going $120 in a Honda Civic with a mattress roped to the roof. Your arm holding the thing down ain't doing fuck all. Scotty, cinch on another Bessie clamp. See, not sketchy at all 21 digits accounted for and mostly intact. I don't know, he must have had a double dip of glaucoma medication. Oh right, it is a power tool. We'll get this thing bled overnight, stick it up on a little cart. Don't have an engine stand for it. Carefuling. Carefuling. Ugh. Oh, that one. When you're lifting something janky, it's best just to hoist full speed, get it up and off so it's not dragging and flopping around like an old wounded halibut. Laying down a layer of sacrificial carbohydrate foam. Don't judge me. Carefuling. Carefuling. Tappy tap tap. You don't realize how critical good putting form is until you see how often you gotta whack shit. No matter how fancy the wetting tackle hardware, you always end up pulling it out prior to settling down. I ought not have stuck my hand in the bite there. Prudence, the safety goat, was looking elsewhere. Still, taking a risk. Fork extension right up against the top side of the motor. Nothing for it but to roll backwards, and you can see the flat spot in the motor commutator on Forky McForkface. Stakes up on the circus tent and move the clown show to greener raptures. Some pads, the thick ones for heavy days. Advanced bumblefuckery wrongdoing tool. Instead of fetching up, she'll shear clean off. By the soot, this thing's running idle and slobbering. Diesel's gotta work. Release. Schmoo. That's the stuff. Diesel oil gets black quick. Oh! This is always the danger of not having your triple jointed 90-pound Filipino pocket rocket. You can't get in there to chow. Hey, that's the one. Tick it tap, tick tack tack, smack it, tack it. We bar it over so we can get at the bolts. Take off the sump inlet. That's the oil pump pickup. Just a couple ugga-duggas to get that off. What, 100 foot-pound? And she gone. Bearing cap doesn't look too shit hot either. Nothing left but the steel. That's not good. That's not good. A clue. We have found the Never Cease factory.
Look at this. If you had one chance to only replace one bearing and call the job done and walk away, would you do it?
Ours is not the question why. Ours is but to do or die. The real question is, why did we take this out of the frame if we're just going to replace the run bearing? Well, because we're going to do a complete overhaul, of course. Just look away for about 4 days. Dewclaw, what is the prime directive?
Well, we haven't fucked up yet, so let's just keep going until we fuck it up.
So here's the thing, most industrial places, equipment places, won't even rebuild an engine. They'll just swap it out. So we're not going fucking bananas. We're not rebuilding a race engine. This is an industrial engine, slow turning. As long as you portray the proper false bravado, everything's gonna work out just fine.
Oh, yeah, it'll work out, and then you just gotta go pay for it later.
Shake hands with danger.
We really ought to take that fan off.
Danger. Need a guy who ought to know. I used to laugh at safety. Now they call me Three-Finger Joe.